Morality, I believe, is not something men invent to control one another. It is discovered, not unlike geometry or the principles of music. There is a rhythm to the soul, and when we live justly, when we act with courage, temperance, and wisdom, we live in harmony with that rhythm. The just man does not act from fear of punishment nor for reward. He acts because he knows, deep within, that to live well is to live rightly. Morality is the structure of the good life, and the good life is one governed by reason. I have said before, an unexamined life is not worth living. That examination, that relentless inquiry, leads us to virtue, not imposed by law, but drawn forth from the soul's longing for truth.
And yet I must laugh, Socrates. For all your talk of truth and soul, what you defend is merely the morality of the weak. Do you not see? Morality was not discovered, it was engineered, not by reason, but by resentment. The herd, afraid of the strong, created values to protect itself. They took what they could not be, brave, powerful, proud, and called it evil. They took what they were, meek, obedient, self-denying, and called it good. It is not divine order you worship, it is domestication, a cage made of words. You speak of the soul in harmony, but I see only fear in disguise. I do not ask what is moral. I ask what enhances life, what increases strength, vitality, will. There is no universal good. There is only what serves your power or diminishes it.
And you believe that this power, this raw will you speak of, is the measure of all things. That strength alone justifies itself, that the powerful should define the good by what pleases them. I must disagree. To live only by appetite, by domination, by the self is not power. It is slavery to one's impulses, one's pride, one's ego. The tyrant may conquer a city, but he has lost the greater war, the war for his soul. The truly powerful man is he who governs himself, who sees beyond mere pleasure or conquest. The man who asks, what is just? What is wise? What is lasting? Virtue is not weakness, it is clarity. It is the discipline of a soul that seeks truth, not merely victory.
And yet, what has this virtue given the world, Socrates? A world afraid to act, afraid to offend, afraid to climb. Your morality whispers, obey, be modest, sacrifice. But I say, no, let the strong stand. Let them assert. Let them create values rather than inherit them. You speak of the tyrant, but I ask, is the man who dares to break the herd truly a tyrant, or is he the only free one left? You fear the passions. I see in them the source of greatness. Yes, desire can destroy, but it can also build. Art, discovery, poetry, rebellion, none are born of restraint. They are born of fire. And you, Socrates, wish to smother that fire in the name of balance.
Fire, uncontained, destroys indiscriminately, but fire guided by reason warms, illuminates, nourishes. The passions are not evil, but they must serve the soul, not rule it. A just life is not a dull life, it is a rich life, one where desire is elevated, not enslaved. You mistake chaos for freedom. But tell me, is the man who steals, lies, kills at will truly free? Or is he trapped in a prison of his own making, dragged about by the winds of impulse? Freedom is found not in indulgence, but in mastery. And morality, rightly understood, is the path to that mastery.
You want mastery. I want metamorphosis. The man who becomes more than he was, who rises beyond good and evil, who forges his own path rather than walk the roads of old. That is who I speak to. You warn of destruction, but creation is always born of destruction. The new man cannot emerge without tearing down the scaffolding of inherited lies. The herd will always hate him. They will call him immoral, evil, dangerous. Let them. Their morality is a tomb. I choose life, not comfort, not safety, but danger, beauty, truth. A truth that does not ask permission to be what it is.
But is truth something we create or something we uncover? That is where we part ways, I think. For me, truth is not a weapon, it is a light. And morality is not a shackle, but a mirror, one that shows us the state of our soul. The man who turns away from it may feel free, but he walks in darkness. He may feel powerful, but he is lost. The greatest strength is to know oneself, to challenge oneself, to live not merely for the moment, but for what is eternal. Morality is not the voice of the weak. It is the whisper of the soul, reminding us who we might become, not by conquering others, but by knowing what is truly worth becoming.
I will not kneel before your eternal forms. I will not bow to shadows cast on cave walls. You ask, what is worth becoming? I say, become what you are. Do not seek harmony, seek intensity. Burn brightly, even if briefly. Your mirror may offer reflection, but I offer a hammer to break, to remake, to begin again. We are not here to obey virtue. We are here to dance with chaos, to flirt with madness, to affirm life even in its cruelty. You call that immoral. I call it honest.
Society is just when it nurtures the soul. It should not merely protect bodies or distribute wealth, but guide its citizens toward virtue. The laws, the customs, the education of a city, these are the tools by which a people shapes character. A city must not follow the passions of the many, nor the whims of the powerful. It must be governed by those who have trained their minds, refined their souls, and sought truth. The goal is not dominance, but harmony, within the self and among all. This, I believe, is the purpose of community, to make each soul better through shared pursuit of the good.
And there you reveal it. The desire to mold man into something safe, small, predictable. You speak of justice, but you really mean control. You want to clip the wings of the eagle so it does not fly too high or cast too large a shadow. But I ask, why should the individual serve society at all? Why should the exceptional bow to the ordinary? Society, as you conceive it, fears the great man. It builds fences and laws to keep him from breaking loose. But my concern is not with the herd. My concern is with the one who dares to stand alone, who dares to become what others only dream. The state is not sacred, the soul is, and some souls must walk alone, even if it terrifies the city.
And yet, can even the greatest soul flourish in isolation? We are not gods, Nietzsche. We are born into relationships, to family, to neighbor, to city. The soul is shaped not only by private reflection, but by dialogue, by justice, by duty. To live without others is not freedom, it is exile. And the so-called great man who rejects all obligations, all humility, all limits, I wonder if he seeks truth or merely escape from it. True greatness is not rebellion for its own sake. It is the strength to serve what is higher than oneself, the form of the good, the betterment of others, the courage to endure when the crowd misunderstands you, not out of pride, but out of principle.
You mistake loneliness for exile. The higher one climbs, the more alone one becomes. But this is not a punishment, it is a sign, a mark of difference. The masses cling to comfort and certainty, but the Creator must walk through storms. Yes, obligations exist, but only to those who earn them. I do not owe the world obedience, I owe it truth, even if that truth offends, even if it destroys illusions that bring others peace. The herdman needs morality to keep him from devouring himself. But the free spirit, he devours himself in order to give birth to something greater. Not service, not conformity, creation.
But is creation not also a kind of service? The sculptor reveals what is hidden in the stone, not by destroying it, but by refining it. The philosopher questions not to tear down, but to uplift. There is destruction, yes, but it is guided by reason, by a vision of justice. The soul must not become drunk on its own power. Without virtue, without self-examination, power becomes cruelty, and freedom becomes license. I do not reject the individual's journey, but I warn, without morality, that journey ends not in transcendence, but in ruin. Know thyself, I have always said, and to know thyself is to know one's place, not in a hierarchy of power, but in a cosmos of meaning.
You still cling to cosmic order, to eternal forms, to meanings handed down like commandments. But I do not seek to know my place. I seek to create it. Morality, as you preach it, says, be humble, be kind, submit to reason. But I say, be fierce, be joyful, embrace contradiction. The highest morality is one we write with our own hands, not inherit from the dead. Do you not see? The old gods are gone. The scaffolding has collapsed. In their place, we must learn to dance, to say yes to life with all its chaos and cruelty. The last man seeks comfort. The overman seeks becoming.
But what of the vulnerable? What of the child, the widow, the poor, the stranger? If we abandon shared virtue, if each man becomes a law unto himself, who will protect those who cannot protect themselves? A society without justice becomes a tyranny of appetite. Without moral truth, how shall we know when we have wronged another? Your will to power may be beautiful to some, but to many it will be a nightmare. We need limits, not to weaken man, but to elevate him, so that he may live in peace with others and with himself.
I do not deny that some are weak, but why must the strong kneel because of it? Compassion, yes, but not at the cost of excellence. If every man is caged for fear he might offend, if every genius is tamed so the average man may sleep soundly, then humanity shall rot in its own safety. I do not ask that the strong destroy the weak, only that they stop pretending weakness is virtue. The greatest lie of your morality is that it calls submission noble. But what is noble is the ascent, the risk, the vision, the daring to live without guarantee. Pity will not save us. Creation will.
Then let us ask finally, what becomes of morality itself? If it is, as you claim, a construct, an illusion, a tool, do we discard it? Do we abandon the search for what is good, or do we press further, ask harder, dig deeper, not for comfort, but for clarity? Morality, to me, is not a set of rules, but a question that never ends. What is the good life? What is justice? How should one live? These are not chains, Nietzsche. They are the very fire of philosophy, the unquenchable light that calls us toward something higher than power, understanding.
Then let it burn. Let your questions blaze across the sky like lightning, but I will not pretend the answers are waiting, eternal and shining. I say, there are no answers, only the courage to ask without promise of finding. Morality, if it survives, must become poetry, a personal myth, not a system but a song. The strong will write it in blood and laughter. The weak may call it madness. Let them. But I say, the future belongs not to those who preserve what was, but to those who dare to invent what